Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game preview, Tottenham Hotspur versus Everton tomorrow evening, Monday Night Football at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and Frank Lampard's Everton side come into this game really needing to get a result. It will be difficult. Tottenham are a decent side, got a lot of quality in their team as well. Obviously the likes of Harry Kane, Son, Lucas Moura, players that can certainly hurt teams if they're not at their absolute best. They made a couple of smart moves in January as well, brought a couple of decent players in to strengthen their team. And although they haven't been on particularly great form recently, they did get a big win against Manchester City a couple of weeks ago. They're still a side that, Everton really need to be wary of tomorrow. But ultimately, it's a game that we need to get something out of. Again, results over the weekend have sort of gone in Everton's favour. Newcastle winning again wasn't brilliant, I suppose, but Burnley dropping points. Watford are currently 2-1 down to Arsenal as we speak, which is a relatively good result for Everton as well. Norwich, I think, losing as well. So, as I said, it hasn't particularly been the worst weekend in regards to other side results. Newcastle are now 6 points ahead of Everton, so, it wasn't great seeing them win another game of football, especially against the Brighton side that I thought going into the game would be able to take all 3 points. And again, it further emphasises the importance of these fixtures and these games coming up for Everton. Yes, this isn't be all and end all, and I'm not sitting here saying it's an absolute must win, and if we don't win, it's the end of the world. But looking at these games and looking at our form at the moment, especially in the Premier League, and given that our last Premier League game was a defeat to Manchester City, a very undeserving defeat, a game that I think a lot of us would agree that we deserved more out of, and probably definitely should have been given the opportunity to get more out of if it wasn't for a biased refereeing decision. We sat here a few weeks ago and established that our home games were going to be the games that we really needed to pick up points, and the rest for the remainder of the season, pretty much every single game at Goodison Park needs to be at the very least a point. And last week was obviously a defeat, and okay, it was a defeat to a very good Manchester City team, but it almost makes these games, the likes of Tottenham away, almost seem a little bit more important. I don't think we should be going into this one thinking, if we don't get anything, then it's okay. I think we need to be looking at this one going, Tottenham aren't in particularly great form at the moment. They're a team that are definitely there for the taking, and it's a game that we should be looking at coming out with at least a point in, and okay, if we could get all 3 points, that would be absolutely fantastic. But if we can come away with a decent draw out of this one tomorrow evening, and then obviously building to the next few weeks or so with some really important games coming up. We've got a really important week coming up over the next couple of weeks where we play both Watford and Newcastle within the space of 3 or 4 days. That needs to be 6 points. It's as simple as that. And tomorrow will be difficult. I will be making the trip down to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium myself and Ned from Toffee TV will be heading down there tomorrow. So it'll be certainly a long day. I think the coach leaves at 12 or something like that, and probably won't get home until midway through Monday morning. So it'll be a long day tomorrow, but I'm fully expecting Everton to put in a performance, and let's make a change tomorrow. Far too often have we seen, certainly in recent weeks and months, and obviously under Rafael Benitez, and even since Frank Lampard has come in, we've seen these away performances where you're almost sitting there, the day before the game or a couple of days before the game, just dreading it, because we almost know what's coming. The players aren't going to turn up. They aren't going to perform like they do at Goodison Park. There's not going to be as much fight. There's not going to be as much, intensity, as much desire, as much commitment, and that needs to change. That seriously needs to change. We got a win against Boreham Wood on Thursday. It wasn't the greatest win. It was a comfortable win. It was a comfortable game of football. It was a comfortable result, but it wasn't the greatest performance. It wasn't like we went out there and beat them 4-5-0, which, let's be honest, we should have. I know some people will say, oh yeah, but Cam, they hadn't conceded a goal in the FA Cup before Thursday night, or we haven't exactly got the best firing line up front ourselves, and that's all well and good, but the reality of the situation is we're a Premier League team and they're a glorified Sunday League team, so we should have beaten them by a much higher scoreline than what we did, but we beat them. And as I said, it was comfortable. They never put us under any pressure. There was never any sort of nervy moments, and we've got to take what we can from that win and implement it into tomorrow's game. And as I said, it will be difficult. Tottenham currently sitting 7th in the Premier League, 25 games played, 13 wins, 3 draws and 9 losses. Obviously started the season with Nuno Espirito Santo in the managerial area. Obviously, he come in the summer, again a manager heavily linked with the Everton job prior to Rafael Benitez getting it, ended up joining Tottenham and lasting all of, 15 minutes before he got the sack, and then they replaced him with an absolute serial winner in Antonio Conte. And whilst Antonio Conte's time at Tottenham may not have been as he would have expected it so far, and it might not have been how many of us, including myself, would have seen it go, and they're still in a relatively good position. They're still 7th in the league, well within the race for European football. Have brought in a couple of good signings, over January. Kulusevski from Juve being one of them. He's had a really, really good start to his life at Tottenham. Still got a couple of good players in there. Harry Kane all of a sudden finding his feet, scoring goals. You've got Son finding his feet, scoring goals again as well. So, it's an extremely, extremely tough game of football, especially given that it's away from home as well. And as I said, we all know that we're not particularly great away from home. We did beat Tottenham last time we played there last season. However, it was in front of obviously an empty stadium because fans weren't allowed in the stadium at that point. So, listen, this will be tough. It will be extremely tough. I want to apologise for the lines across my face. It's basically the reflection of the sun, and I can't change it because it's sunny and I can't stop it being sunny, and I've got nothing to block out the sun, and I needed to do this live stream now. I couldn't really wait until later on for the sun to go down, so I do apologise about that one. But yeah, as I said, it's a massively important game. It's a game that we've ultimately got to look to get something out of. If we can't get all 3 points, then at least take a point out of this game and show that desire, show that battle. I want to see a similar performance as the one that we put in against Manchester City. And, the last week or so has been quite an interesting one as an Evertonian, hasn't it? Because we've seen us play the best team in the country and a team that are on a different stratosphere to somebody like Boreham Wood, a week ago, and we put in a really solid performance in that game, and we deserved more out of it, and we ended up, we managed to nullify a really good attacking side to very few opportunities and very few chances. And then fast forward a few days later, we played a team that aren't particularly great in Boreham Wood, who are in the, the lower divisions in English football, and whilst it wasn't difficult for us, whilst it was comfortable, we didn't particularly look great in that game. So, again, showing the contrasting sides of Everton Football Club. And I think Carlo Ancelotti said towards the end of last season, we're a two-faced team. One week we can be brilliant, and the next week we can be absolutely awful. And away from home over the last couple of weeks, we've been absolutely atrocious. The Southampton result was an absolute disgrace. The Newcastle performance not so long ago was an absolute disgrace as well. So hopefully we will see a change tomorrow. Hopefully we'll see an Everton team go out tomorrow and actually put in a performance that we can all sit there and go, do you know what? That was fantastic. And I honestly think if we can do that, then we've got a real big opportunity to come away with a win. As I said, Tottenham aren't on the greatest run of form at the moment. Obviously lost in midweek to Middlesbrough in the FA Cup, which was a shock loss for them. They did beat Leeds 4-0 the week before, but Leeds at the moment are absolutely abysmal, or were certainly under Marcelo Bielsa. Obviously they've got Jesse Marsch in now. They lost to Burnley prior to that Leeds result, which again was a big loss for them. They did beat Manchester City 3-2 the week before that, and they lost to Wolves 2-0 the week before that. So they've had a couple of wins in there. Obviously, big win against Manchester City and a big win scoreline-wise against Leeds, despite the fact Leeds aren't particularly great at the moment. But some of the losses they've had in there, you'd like Burnley away from home, Wolves, the last time they played at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, obviously Middlesbrough in midweek, shows that this Tottenham team is more than capable of turning up and not putting in that performance that maybe they expect to, and turning up and not being able to get a result. And Everton have to be able to capitalise on that. Everton have to be able to put in the type of performance that we did against Manchester City and take advantage of Tottenham Hotspur's weaknesses, I suppose, and they have got a lot of weaknesses in there. They've got defensive frailties. They do leak chances. They do concede goals. They do give teams opportunities to get into games. And if we can get in there and get a couple of goals early on, and then just be solid and be compact and ultimately stop one of the best strikers in the country from scoring and creating chances, then who knows what could happen. And imagine what a win could do for Everton tomorrow. Imagine what a win could do for Frank Lampard's team if we leave that stadium tomorrow evening and we've managed to pick up all 3 points. All of a sudden the confidence is growing. We're looking in a lot stronger of a situation, and we've managed to get a big away win, which we haven't been able to say this season. I think we've won one game away from home in the Premier League this season. It was against Brighton, which was in September, October. So it's not been good enough away from home. It certainly hasn't, and I don't think there will be one Evertonian who will be sitting here, looking ahead to this game, thinking, yeah, I'm confident that we're going to go and win this one because of how bad we've been away from home, and there's no escaping that. There's certainly no escaping that, but ultimately, at the end of the day, we've got to be able to put that form behind us, and we've got to be able to move on and hopefully pick up something out of this one, because that's what we need. As I said, Tottenham have got a couple of really, really good players in there, and have made a couple of really good signings over the last few weeks or so. Kulusevski being one of them, who I think is a really, really good player. Like Harry Kane is coming back into form after not having the greatest start of the season. Son coming back into form as well after having a little bit of a shaky, on-off start. So it's on Everton. It really, really is on Everton. Frank Lampard has had his pre-game press conference. He had it on Friday ahead of this game. He was hopeful that Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be fit for this one. Whether or not he will start is a completely different question. Frank Lampard did confirm that Damari Gray missed the game against Boreham Wood due to an illness. I think he said it was a fever. So hopefully he has managed to get over that and will be available for this game. And Andre Gomez is back as well. Ben Godfrey is recovering well from his injury, but is still not back. Actually seen Ben Godfrey going into Goodison Park on Thursday evening. He was driving his car into there and he gave us a little smile and a little wave. So seems to be in good spirits, although it was literally a altercation. Not altercation, it was literally a meeting that lasted all of about 5 seconds. So, but he smiled, so he seemed happy. But yeah, as I said, other than that, other than Ben Godfrey and Yerry Mina, who are our two best centre-backs, we should have a strong enough team to be able to go out there and at least cause Tottenham some problems tomorrow. And as I said, I want to see a different performance from Everton. I want to be shocked. I want to be sat in that stadium tomorrow night going, do you know what? We can put a performance in away from home. We can turn up and we can battle and we can show that desire and we can show that commitment, and we actually can turn up and give an opposition team something to think about away from home, because that's ultimately what we need to do, and we haven't done that anywhere near enough this season. And although Tottenham are a decent side, managed by a good manager with a number of good players, there's no reason as to why we can't do that tomorrow. Eugene says, what Richarlison must do for Lampard to grant his Everton wish, and he also says Everton show little interest to offer John Joe Kenny a new contract. Hi Cam, hi everybody, says Sophie. John says hi Cam, hi John, hope you're doing well. Lenny says briefly third bottom when Burnley were at 0-0. Yeah, we were again. That's a couple of times over the last couple of weeks or so where we've dropped into that relegation zone due to other results, and whilst we haven't been in there for a long period of time, we certainly have dropped in there, and that's a worry in itself, doesn't it? That tells you how important these games are. That tells you how desperate we are for points at the moment, as to when we're dropping into the relegation zone and we're really relying on other teams to drop points, and we're really relying on teams to pick up points against the likes of Burnley and your Leeds and your Norwiches and your Watfords and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sitting there now, just cheered Saka's goal as if he plays for Everton. He doesn't. He plays for Arsenal. The reality is, I couldn't care whether Arsenal win or lose, but they're playing Watford, and we need Watford to lose. We need Watford to drop points, which is the sad reality of the situation that we're in. We need back-to-back wins desperately, says John. I agree. God says another Everton game I can't watch due to work. Hopefully it's a result. Let's hope so. Everton Blue says, Cam, what do you think we'll win on Monday? I'm personally going to go with 2-2. But I think we can win. Definitely. John Joe deserves a 2-year deal. He showed great improvements under Frank, says Don. I'm not so sure on that one. I wouldn't be, at this current moment, I wouldn't be giving John Joe Kenny a new deal. Maybe come the end of the season, depending on how the next few weeks go. But at this current moment, I think a lot more needs to be done for new deals to be given out, especially given 5 or 6 weeks ago this wouldn't have even been a conversation. Let's get a result tomorrow. Come on, you Blues, says USA Toffee. Here comes the sun. Cam says Glenn. Damien says, alright, Cam, mate. The weekend games have all gone our way. We need to get a win tomorrow to start getting up the table. Do you think we will need to sell Richie, DCL or Pickford after losing Usman off sanctions and losing his sponsorships? I don't think we'll need to sell all three. I think one of the three may leave this summer, but I don't necessarily think that's financial reasoning, i.e. because we've lost sponsorships or sanctions from Usmanov, because we'll just replace those sponsorships with somebody else. I think it's more the FFP situation, and one of those three players may be looking at it thinking, I need to go and further my career somewhere else. I don't know. I think it will be extremely difficult to keep a hold of all three in the summer, if I'm being honest with you. We were immensely lucky. Leeds lost yesterday. They mullered Leicester. They were really good, to be fair. Leeds yesterday, they did put in a really good performance. Eugene says every Everton away game against Tottenham is a must win. Every game is a must win, says USC Toffee. Alright, Cam Lad says, Kevin, what's happening, Kevin? This game last night, the last time Everton won 1-0 against Tottenham. Yeah, Kevin says Everton will win. It's a must-win game. Players have to step up in this one. Spot on. And Paddy says, up the Toffees, Cam. Great stuff. Glad I caught a live stream. It's been a while. Nice one, my mate. Nice one, my mate. I appreciate that. Look, yeah, absolutely. We need something out of tomorrow, and a win would be amazing. It would. It would be a big ask, I think, considering how badly we've been away from home this season. But it isn't impossible. It certainly isn't impossible. And Tottenham are a side that are beatable, very, very, very beatable. Burnley proved that a couple of weeks ago. Middlesbrough proved that in midweek, that this is a very beatable Tottenham team, and if we can manage to get a result there, then it would be fantastic. Anyway, let's get into my predicted starting 11 ahead of this one then. As I said, Frank Lampard has confirmed that Dominic Calvert-Lewin, hopes Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be back for this one after missing with the game against Boreham Wood with a knock. He also hopes that Damari Gray will be back. He missed Boreham Wood because of a fever. We know Andre Gomez is back in the squad. So let's get into my predicted starting 11. In goal, I am going with Jordan Pickford. Obviously, Jordan was kept out of the FA Cup game on Thursday. Asmir Begovic made his first start under Frank Lampard. Yeah, he done okay. Listen, he never had to face anything, did he? I don't think Boreham Wood had a shot on goal, did he? Maybe one shot on target, if that. So it wasn't like he had to face an incessant amount of danger on his goal. But he done what he needed to do, and he done it well. He kept his head, he kept his calm. It was professional. It was a solid performance. It was a solid a solid evening for Asmir Begovic, but the reality of the situation is he's not our first choice Premier League goalkeeper, is he? Jordan Pickford is our first choice Premier League goalkeeper, and therefore Jordan Pickford will be starting this game. Left back, I am actually going with Vitaly Mykolenko. Now, obviously, he went off in the game against Boreham Wood with a dead leg, which, again, now I can only assume means that he's available for this game. Surely a dead leg wouldn't have kept him out for more than a couple of hours, really, never mind a few days. And I thought he'd done well against, Tottenham. Now, obviously, Boreham Wood. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things going on with Vitaly Mykolenko at the moment in his personal life and with his family and what's going on over in Ukraine. And I understand that, and I would completely understand if Frank Lampard or Vitaly Mykolenko wasn't up for starting this game or wasn't up for playing in this game. But given he was up for playing against Boreham Wood, and given he put a relatively decent performance in against Boreham Wood, yes, I would have liked to have seen him maybe a little bit more going forward, and I'd like to have seen his attacking style maybe a little bit more. But again, that's just being a little bit picky on my behalf. I actually think his performance was decent. Thought he worked hard. Thought defensively he was solid. Obviously, he captained the team, which was great to see as well. And if he's fit and he's available, I fully expect him to start tomorrow. If not, then yes, okay, it might be John Joe Kenny who starts there at left back, which we've seen on a number of times recently. And John Joe, to be fair to him, has done relatively well when he's had to have been called up in that position. But if Vitaly Mykolenko was fit, then for me there's no reason as to why Vitaly Mykolenko shouldn't start, as long as he obviously is wanting to start. Obviously, if he's gone to Frank Lampard and expressed that he's not in the right frame of mind or for whatever reason, then that's fair enough. But if he's there and he's willing to start and he wants to play and he's fit, then he should play because he's our left back, and that's how it goes. Centre backs, I'm going for Michael Keane and Mason Holgate. I did think Jared Branthwaite put in a relatively solid performance against Boreham Wood. Again, wasn't put under an immense amount of pressure because their forward line just weren't in the game worthy. Let's be perfectly honest, they didn't create many opportunities and they didn't really put us under much pressure whatsoever. However, he did do well, Jared Branthwaite. But the likelihood of him playing in a Premier League game against Tottenham, especially when Frank Lampard has favoured the partnership of Michael Keane and Mason Holgate over the last few weeks or so, whether that be rightly or wrongly in some people's opinions, we know that, once Yerry Mina and Ben Godfrey are both fit, they will be starting centre-back, or at least we would like to hope. But whilst they're both out injured, and whilst we don't really know how long those two will be out injured for, I'm sure it will be Michael Keane and Mason Holgate who will cover that centre-back pairing. And then right back, I'm going for Seamus Coleman. I thought Nathan Patterson done well on on Thursday. I thought he was probably unlucky to have been taken off when he was taken off. I think it was a little bit harsh. I understand the reason and why, because the manager wanted to change system and wanted to bring on Richarlison, had a little bit more up front, so I understand the reasons as to why Nathan Patterson was brought off. However, at the end of the day, again, let's be honest, it will likely be Seamus Coleman that starts at right back, and if it's not Seamus Coleman, it will likely be John Joe Kenny. Into the midfield then, I'm going with a 3 in midfield: Abdoulaye Doucouré, Alan and Donny van der Beek. Obviously, Alan and Abdoulaye Doucouré both featuring in that game on Thursday. Donny van der Beek obviously missed it through being cup-tied. Hopefully both Alan and Abdoulaye Doucouré are fit and available. And by fit and available, I don't mean injury-free, because we know they're injury-free, but I mean match-fit to be able to step out there and put in 110% for 90-plus minutes. My biggest problem on Thursday was starting the likes of Alan, because, again, I question his ability to be able to put in top performances, consecutively in games that are so close to each other, because of his style, because of, obviously, he's not particularly young, is he? Let's be honest. So that might be a worry. That might be a worry going into tomorrow. But I think, again, the 3 in midfield is a simple decision for me. That the 3 of them were particularly good against Manchester City. Donny van der Beek has been fantastic in recent weeks for Everton, and obviously he will be back in there. He'll have had a nice rest over the last couple of days or so, and as I said, hopefully having Donny van der Beek in there will allow somebody like Alan and Abdoulaye Doucouré to maybe not have to do as much and not have to give as much as they would have done on Thursday. But for me, that's as simple a decision as you will make going into this one, as those 3 in midfield. And then 3 up front, I'm going with Demarai Gray, Richarlison and Anthony Gordon. Obviously, there's question marks as to whether or not Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be available, whether or not Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be fit. If he is, and he's available to start, I think Frank Lampard should start him on the bench. I think bringing Dom on with 20 minutes, half an hour to go, and, giving those Tottenham players, those Tottenham midfielders, those Tottenham defenders something to think about in Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's presence and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's ability as a striker coming off the bench with 20 minutes to go against tired legs. I think that would have more of an impact than starting him not really finding his feet, him having a difficult game, as he has done, since he's returned from injury, really, and then sort of having to bring him off with half an hour to go because he hasn't really settled in. I think if you start Richarlison up front, Richarlison spoke this week about wanting to be a striker, about feeling like his natural position is a number 9. I think ultimately if you play Richie up front with Gray and Gordon off either wing, and then you've got Dom to come on and maybe have that impact off the bench, a little bit like he's done a couple of times over the last 12-18 months or so, then I think that leaves us in good stead. But who knows, Frank Lampard might go with Dom instead and Richie on one of the wings, or he might go with both. Some people would say if Dom's fit, he simply has to start. I would disagree with that, but I would understand where people are coming from. And there you go, that is the predicted starting 11 ahead of this one. Let us know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. If you're watching as a live stream, let us know your thoughts on it live. If you watch as a YouTube video, let us know down below. In terms of Dele Alli, obviously coming up against his old club, it'll be interesting to see how he performs and how he reacts to that. Do I think he will start? No. Do I think he will come off the bench? Yes, and hopefully he can come off the bench and have a positive impact, and hopefully he's got a bit of a fire in his belly to maybe prove some people at Tottenham Hotspur wrong, and kickstart his Everton career, because let's be honest, I'm not going to say it's been a bad start, but it's not exactly been the height start that maybe we all wanted, and that's not necessarily down to him. That's, the situation that we're in, the fact that he's only been coming off the bench and stuff like that. The performances in which he's played in have been bad performances all round, but other than obviously the Leeds performance. But as I said, hopefully he's got a little bit of a fire in his belly to put in an individual performance tomorrow that can turn heads, and if he can, then I think again it's a really positive thing for us. So there you go, that is my predicted starting 11. Let us know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. This will be a tough game tomorrow. It will be a tough game. As I said, I'll be making my way down to the London Stadium. I'll be at the game, so hopefully we can put a performance in. And like I said, I think if we do put a performance in, if we show that battle, if we show that fight, if we show that desire, then I don't see a reason as to why we can't come away with something here. Tottenham are a good team. They are a good team, but they're not, they're certainly not on great form at the moment, and they've had some defeats in recent weeks that sort of, I think Everton should be taking a lot of confidence from. And I think Everton should be looking at those defeats and thinking, where can we exploit this Tottenham team? Where can we get behind them? Where can we create chances? Where can we put them under pressure? Because that can be done. That can be done. And if we got a win, imagine what that would do for the confidence. Imagine what that would do for this situation that we're currently in at the moment, especially given that the majority of results this weekend have gone our way. So there you go. We're going to leave it there then. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. We will be back with the instant match reaction and the play ratings tomorrow. It might be a little bit later than usual because obviously of making the way back from Tottenham. I'll see how quiet the coach is, and maybe we'll be able to get them done over on that. But there you go. Big game. Got to go out and put a performance in, hopefully go out and get a result, and if we can, then that will leave us in good stead over the next couple of weeks or so. But big thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, please hit that like button. Massive thanks to everybody for watching in the live comments. Really do appreciate it. If you're watching the YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the YouTube comments down below, and we'll get involved with as many of them as we possibly can. If you have enjoyed this one, please do leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Let's hope you can get a result. Come on, up the toffees. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you later.